Hi, thank you so much for joining me today for 30 days of sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. This is round 10 and today is day 26. You will have just seen the sketch there and it's by Jen Miller. It's a really lovely sketch with photos in the corners. So I chose to document some photos of my family when we went to our local town to see the Christmas markets and then out for lunch back in 2013. And I'm using Vicki Boutin's Print Shop for this. Now, first of all, you can see I've matted all the photos. I'm using square 4x4 photos, matted them on white cardstock, which seems to be my favourite thing to do at the moment. And then I pulled some papers that coordinate with the colours in the photos from the Print Shop paper pad. It's the first time I've used a Vicki Boutin 12x12 paper pad, and it's beautiful. The papers are definitely thinner than the open cardstock, just so that you're aware, but it works absolutely fine, and you get these bonus sheets of wood grain like this one that I'm using now, which are really handy. So just matting all these photos, as I say, and coordinating colours that I pulled out of that paper pad, and then I'm going to distress all the edges before putting them down. And now all those edges are distressed. I won't bore you watching all of that. I'm coming in with a fairly wide, broad brush to brush on some black acrylic paint to emulate the strips that Jen has in her sketch. So I've just blobbed a tiny bit of the black acrylic paint on some packaging, and I'm putting those strips down. And I start off by doing them around the top photo because there's just one photo there. So that's the first 3 strips, and then coming in with the second 3. And already I'm starting to realise that my photos are definitely bigger than the ones on the sketch, because this seems to be taking an awful lot of space on this layout. So just moving those pictures of the kids out the way so that I can get these 3 strips down. And once they're down, I am going to come in with some strips of paper as well. So I'm just using the tear off strips from this pattern paper pad, and I'm just placing some just to see how it looks before I carry on actually sticking things down. So just, as I say, just grabbing any. I'm not too worried about the colours that I'm putting down at this point. I just wanted to grab some strips just to see how it would look. And that actually those cut off pieces are the perfect size. So it's quite handy. If you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know I do love to use my scraps. So now those 3 down, just trying around the photo of Ross. And I love this purple paper because it matches really nicely with that flower headband that Amelia's wearing in the bottom photo. So just having a look at what's on, these are double-sided strips, so just having a look at what's on the other side as well, as I start to decide which colours to put where. So I'm going to move those all out of the way now and get these photos stuck down. So using my 25mm sticks to foam pads per usual, it just makes it really easy. Lifting those photos up just to make them the star of the show really. So popping those 4 each on the photos and popping those down. And once all those photos are stuck down, I can start working on those strips over the paint strips. So I'm going to trim off the bit where the hole was in the paper first, and then I shall distress the edges of each of the strips. There we go, cutting off that hole, and then distressing the edges of each of the strip before putting them down. And of course I'll trim them down to size as I go. I don't tend to measure things, I just go by eye. So this was half a strip, and then I just pushed it under the photo as far as I needed to to make it the right length. And then this pink one, and in fact at the top I used all grain pieces. The colours worked so well because Ross has got a blue shirt on, the pink colour to match the colour of his skin, and the ceiling looks almost a pink in this light, and then the green of the Peroni bottle, the beer that he's drinking. So just quickly distressing the edges of those and then getting them down on the layout. I don't actually stick them down yet because I want to make sure of the placement of everything that I'm putting on. So now doing the bottom, and I start with the purple strip because that's closest to Amelia's headband. So I think that will look nice. And then I love this black and white geometric. So that goes in next. Of course that would go with any photos at all. And then once that's down, I'll go in with the blue floral, which again goes nicely with the blue that Ross is wearing and the blue on the label of the beer. So you can see how full the page is already, and now I'm turning my attention to the strips around the other two photos, but already I'm starting to worry that the page is definitely too full and I'm not entirely happy. But I just give it a go anyway. Sometimes you have to try these things just to see how it'll work out. And it wouldn't have looked impossible, but I'm just not happy with it. So first of all, I try shortening these strips by just folding the ends over. Thank goodness I didn't tear them off. Just folding them over just to see if we can fit everything in. And here you can see it's a half-hearted effort really, because I'm not quite sure that this is going to work. So just getting the size right, just have a look. And there, I see that it's just too much. So I'm not totally following the sketch, but it's definitely been influenced heavily by the sketch. So just adding the strips to that top photo, and at the end of the layout I'm really pleased with how it looks, and you wouldn't actually know that I haven't totally followed the sketch. So just glue down the middle of these strips, and then I'll pull up the edges slightly just to give some texture to the layout. And those are going over. I wasn't sure whether to offset them against those paint strips or lay them over, but they look nice laid over, and the paint strips are almost like a shadow underneath the strips, which looks good. So those three down, and then getting these three down. I realise that it's easier probably to bend the paper before I glue it. Always learning, trying different things. So just the last two to stick down, and then I can decide what to do with those bottom two photos, because obviously if I'm not adding the strips, I want to embellish them somehow. And you can see I've got the Print Shop papier pieces open to the left hand side of me. And of course I'm going to dive into those. Just getting rid of the paper dust. Straight away I see this piece, and I think that would be perfect to add my journaling. So that's probably going to go down there. And now my title, and these are just some really old fancy pants puffy stickers, and the title reads "Let's Do Lunch." Like I say, it was a really lovely day. We'd gone up to Warrington because we heard that the Christmas markets were being set up. It was the 30th of November, so we went up to have a look. They had a merry-go-round, a carousel that the kids went on, and we had a wander round, and then we went to a local Italian for lunch, which was lovely. So just sticking this journaling strip down. I did my journaling, which says what I've just said about the day. And then I can start to embellish And once again, I'm drawn to these washi tape pieces. They really are lovely because they're so subtle on a layout. They blend right into the background. It almost looks like you've created your own pattern paper. So first of all, that large blue flower, and then I spot this, which is almost like a coffee ring, and I think that's perfect because they're all drinking their drinks. So I think that goes nicely. And another one, which is similar, and the black spot at the bottom there just to balance it all out. I'm trying out this documented tab, but it's not quite right. So keep going to look through. I definitely want something above that photo of James, and then I find this piece that says Everyday Magic. So use that, and another ink blot just to balance it all out. And that's filled in that bottom left-hand corner of the layout nicely. So I'm just going to pop all these down. I'm getting more used to using these washi stickers now, and they're very forgiving. They're not as delicate as they appear when you pull the backing off. It's just finding the leverage to pull that backing off. It's a bit tough sometimes. And with these circular pieces, I find if you just put one bit down and then slowly tease it round, it seems to fall into place. And now the flower. You see, I'm starting to find it easier. I think I found the knack. But you see that you can still see the background through them, and they're just beautiful. I really do like them so much. This ink splodge down the bottom, which goes really nicely with those paint strips that I've added to the layout. And the ink splattered to the left-hand side of the journaling strip. And then the Everyday Magic sticker. So trying a few more bits just to see what else I can pop down this left-hand side. It just seems a bit too stark to me at the moment, so I just want to add a few things. I find this label, so that goes on. Just trimming the bottom off because I can save that for another layout. So I'll glue that down, and then I'll keep looking through. And in the end, I find a little piece that's from a previous layout I did. If you've watched any of my previous videos, I did a photo of the kids all trying to sit on an elephant at Chester Zoo. And this was one of the offcuts of the bottom paper that I put on. And any bits like that, I'll just pop into my ephemera packs. And it just sits really nicely there. It's just a little bit of something. So now coming in with the date, and that goes underneath my title, Let's Do Lunch. And then I want to find something to go above the photo of Ross. I feel like it's just a little bit empty up there. So first of all, I come in with these puffy stickers and scatter a few of those around. A couple of hearts around the journaling. Just trying the positioning, but it goes there. And then some of these little gold dots, just to draw the eye around the page. Now the sticker sheet, just seeing if there's anything from that I can add. I do love these word strips, but it wasn't quite right. A tab seemed a little bit too obvious when I started trying to put it, and I thought, well, I've already put the date, so what am I actually going to add on to that tab anyway? So decided against that. And then I found these little words. So I try this one first of all, but it's not right. And then I find a little pink one that says enjoy, and that just sits really nicely. It just sort of blends into the photo. It's not too obvious. And then another purple circle with gold on it, and that just sits nicely with that black circle. I toy with the idea of using that arrow, but I don't really need to add anything like that up there now. So the last thing I add is a little butterfly above James, just there. Just filling in that white space a little bit without overcrowding everything. There's already quite a lot on here. Now this little heart strip is from the chipboard sticker sheet, and that's really nice up there. And then I find this phrase which says, taking pictures to save memories, and that's exactly what we'd done, because this day would have been forgotten had I not have taken these photos. So it was great to add some journaling about that. And this little chipboard piece says memories made, and that just adds a nice bit of something to that up there. Thank you so much for joining me. Do check the description box down below to see everybody else joining in on this hop. There's a lovely playlist, and that's it. I shall see you tomorrow for the next sketch. Thanks so much. Bye.